Welcome to the Geeks, 31 Days of Horror for Halloween. This is Alil.
This is Steve.
And with us we have again Mike D. Mike, what is going on?
Good to be back. You know it's Halloween season if I'm with the Geeks, and I'm very excited as usual. What's going on, fellas?
Same old here, same old.
Another year, another October, another crazy pick from the East Coast.
Another Skype link sent, you know.
Another, as my wife and kids say, another horror porn week for you, Dad. Even my son, who's almost 13, he's like, "Oh, you watching something?" I'm like, "Dude, get out of here! You can't watch these movies with me."
Mike sent this one over. You definitely can't watch this. Maybe you
I
can watch
don't know what
Tommy sent.
I don't know. No, that one was just as bad this time around. Cause
and you just never know because the movies you guys pick tend to like jump so drastically from scene to scene. Like you could be like, "Oh, this is fine." Wait a second.
Wait, what happened?
Maybe I shouldn't have asked my grandmother to watch this one with us. You know.
So tonight we're reviewing Killer Party from 1986. So for those of you who have not been with us before, we will play for you our rating system.
Which has a rating system in place that we like to call 0 to 0. If whatever horror movie we're reviewing is terrifying only to the most infantile who get nightmares from PG-13 reboots, it gets a 0 if it's a gorgasm-inducing slaughter party that satiates your most devious and monstrous desires. It gets a hero.
In order to join a sorority, 3 friends go to a hazing party in an old house where a sadistic, bloodthirsty, demonic spirit is lying in wait. So I guess that's what happened. There's a lot of things. This movie felt like at least 2 movies in one. I thought 3. I was watching Porky's in the beginning.
At least 3.
Yeah,
maybe 4.
Yeah.
It keeps shifting narratives, which is kind of wild, especially the first 25 minutes.
Yes. You think it's a slasher, then it goes into something else, and then it's a Porky's movie, and then it's like Revenge of the Nerds, because you got those 2 nerdy kids who are part of a fraternity, and I'm like, there's no way those 2 guys would have been part of any fraternity back in the mid '80s.
The movie's filled with the actors that are like not that person, right? It's like that duo was like not John Candy and not Rick Moranis. But like there were so many that were like the main group, but the main girl was like, that's not Elizabeth Shue. And then like her friend with the jacket, I was like, that's not Sigourney Weaver. You know,
and I got one too.
Boom, boom.
Even the one with in the opening scene, the second opening scene with the movie video, I was like, not Nicole Eggert, not her. It is not Charles
Martin. When Martin shows up, I'm like, not Christian Bale. Like exactly like
or the other guy, not Rob Lowe.
Yeah. Yes.
I was thinking like Outsiders. Like I'm like,
the guy that was like making out with the chick through the guillotine at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, bad idea. Like,
Rob
what are you
High,
doing?
Not Rob Lowe. Rob High. Yes.
Or not David Spader. It's all. You're right, Steve. This is all the knots of movies.
But at the same time, not bad. Like,
so
pretty
not bad, right? So I discovered this movie on what do you call it? Screenbox. That's how I discovered it. And when I got Screenbox, I was like, come on, this is a bargain. It's $30 for the year. What's the worst that could happen, right? Like there was like a couple of movies I wanted to watch on there that they had exclusives. Screenbox is True Bloody Disgusting and a couple other collaborations. They're starting to really add some good titles to it. But originally they just had a lot of bonus content and some documentaries that were really cool. And that's what I wanted to watch. So I was like, for $30, that's like the cost of like renting a movie or seeing a movie. Let me do it. So I turned this fucking thing on one day and I had never seen this movie like as a kid. That's very rare, especially for a slasher, because I kind of sought these out because I'm a fucking weirdo.
Well, and that cover, right? That poster, that cover grabs you, that hand-drawn, hand-painted freaking that 80s ass cover, like,
and I don't remember.
Like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, that's."
I don't remember. I don't remember the
skeleton
VHS
type
cover.
hand holding the girl. Yeah, I remember.
I remember this poster.
And I could be, like I said, it could just all be, you know, a lot of stuff melding together, but I certainly never seen it. And the reason I know I never seen it is because they're fucking absolutely insane 2 opening scenes that have nothing to do with the movie. 2, not 1, 2, you know, like fucking opening scenes.
This is Scream 4. Scream 4 stole this idea. This is multiple openings, and then all of a sudden you get into the movie. It's
and since we're here at the openings, I just gotta say, like, I loved this opening.
Well,
like, I'm like, what's happening? And then all of a sudden I'm like, we're in a fucking music video now, and you know what? Not for nothing, this music's all right.
Yeah,
I knew you. Yeah, Steve, I was
all right.
there.
The fucking music throughout this movie a little. Even when they started playing the disco, then I was like, not bad, not bad.
So
like, I like all this stuff.
I need a refresher. Are we ready? Are we talking, or are we gonna do our ratings?
We do our
first?
Reviews. Yeah, we'll do our ratings first. So Mike,
Okay.
Sorry, we were at the beginning.
No, I know. I wanted to make sure I didn't do too much. I wanted to make sure I didn't do too much. All right. So for me, this is a fucking superhero, like flying through Metropolis, punching Lex Luthor in the face superhero. This couldn't be more of a superhero of a movie. And it's because it's so fucking ridiculous.
All right.
That's it.
Man, I'm teetering on a high sidekick and a hero, and only because I wasn't a big fan of the end. Like the turn that it takes at the end. I was just like, like I liked everything else before that, like when it was like, what's real, what isn't real, you know, like because they were pulling some good gotchas, you know, because I'm like, well, that looked like that was all right for a 80s cheesy effect. Oh wait, it was supposed to be fake. Oh, that's cool, you know. Like there was some stuff that I was really liking, and then the end kind of shook my foundation about the movie a little bit. So that being said, I really did actually enjoy this one. It's 80s as fuck. It's so 80s, from the crimped hair to the clothes to, I mean, just it's another time capsule movie.
I'm gonna write myself a note.
It was just
80s
it's one of those movies that where you're watching it and shit that's happening is you're just not going to see that. This is a different world. Like this is before internet porn, because these guys are way too horny just to see girls running by in towels. And yeah, some of them slip, but it's all done for like laughs. Like, remember, this is all supposed to be funny. This people would be arrested for sexual assault today, but like this is all supposed to be like chuckles and stuff.
Yeah. And
it's like slapstick. Like one guy's like trying to take a picture, he's like, whoa, and he like falls off the top of the van.
And the music with that too. It was all that, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull the old lady into the tub, you know, like it's a lot of that stuff, and I really did have a good time with all that stuff. And it has, you know, those classic 80s bullshit kills that you get in so many of those movies where it's like barely hit you with the hammer. Every kill is like just off screen, you know. But there's a little bit of a charm to that too, because I like all the stupid sound effects that go along with that. Like, that's not what it would sound like if somebody got hit in the head with a hammer. It sounds like somebody like threw a tennis ball at the wall. Like, I don't know. Like, what the fuck noise even was that?
What's it gonna be, Steve?
I don't know. I'm stuck. So I'm gonna reserve my rating until the very end to see where the conversation leads us. Whoa. But I'm high on it though. I did like it a little.
So I give this a sidekick because of the ending and because of the off-screenness of the kills. Like, it's an hour almost until we get to this party where everything happens. Like, yes, there are 2 off-screen type deaths before that, but they're like meaningless, and they're nothing. It builds no tension. It tries to. It really tries to. And like, as you said, this is multiple movies in one. So then all of a sudden it was like, how did that happen? Where does that come from? Where was that girl? Wasn't there? So is there other possessions going on? Because we said in the intro, there was, you know, some demonic possession thing going on. None of that is answered. None of that is discussed.
Well, every single girl in this movie is attractive.
Oh, that's fine. That's great.
It's so good.
I've seen many others just like this. You know what? I don't want to compare it to it because I love April Fool's Day. I love it, but this came out around the same time. This was almost called April Fool's Day because of the jokes. Because
that April Fool's song in the beginning, so good.
That's why.
Yeah.
But April Fool's Day, I think, beat it to the cinema, so they had changed the name to Killer Party. Which again, and then and I was looking at Steve because we were talking about the movie poster, the VHS box. Like it makes no sense. I
No,
guess
none of it. No, it doesn't.
That's
That's
the
why I
thing,
didn't like the
right?
ending.
Yeah, it looks like a prom picture, and then it says by the end of the dance, some of the sorority sisters were dead on their feet. And I'm like, it really wasn't a dance. You know, it wasn't like they were at like a sorority ball. Like,
Yeah.
but that's what they're dressed up as, and I'm like, maybe that's what they should have done. Like, had this big ball party where then there was a murder going on. But like,
I just wish they would have.
just didn't hit where I wanted to. It got close. It was close because I was like,
it could have been a hero.
Guillotine things, all these different things lining up. But then I'm
Tried
like,
it.
but then, yeah, their fucking Jacques Cousteau comes out of fucking nowhere, and I'm like, what is this shit? I was like, what movie am I in?
It could have been a hero if we got a couple of more on-screen kills, and if they would have done something different at the end. We'll talk about that a little bit in the spoiler section, but if they would have done something different at the end, I might have been able to push it right past that.
Yeah, and I did laugh that the main character's name was Jenny because my wife's Jenny or Jennifer. And you don't hear that name anymore. That name is not a common name as it was in the 80s and 90s. Like, so like Jenny being the killer, as well, I don't care if we're in spoilers. We're not in spoilers, but we're in spoilers. It was hilarious to me because me and my wife were watching it. And I was just laughing, pointing at her. I'm like, hey, Jenny.
If anybody didn't see this fucking movie, it's 40 years old. Like, enough's enough. We
gotta we like playing the spoiler alert. We just drop it in there. It scares me.
I hear you, but I mean, like, come on.
So let's talk about this stuff. So
spoilers.
the movie, again, we talked about already, has multiple openings. It opens up, and it's like these people are at a funeral, and the lady wants to go back and talk with the
guy
mom or mother-in-law or something.
What about the priest who's like, I don't know, he's makes some like weird poem reference. He's like, in the words of, I forget, it was like a movie or some such shit. And then he's like she leaves behind and he names all 4 people at the funeral. And then he's like, all right, that's it, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
her lifelong companion, the guy's like, he's in a wheelchair,
So the daughter-in-law goes back in and she's like, I'm happy here. I hope you rot in hell, you fucking bitch. And then
we get like a creep show meets
like Tales from the Crypt
Naked
almost.
Gun. Like it's like ridiculous. Like
it's things shaking. Where is it going? Like, is that how it works? Do they just drop right from there down to the fucking?
Well, that was the thing, and it was like I wonder if that was the fucking modus operandi of crematoriums back then. Because I was what is this thing doing? And then all of a sudden it drops through, and the guy's got his headphones on.
It seems like not real because of how efficient it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, there's no way we would build something that easy. We have to give 5 people jobs. There's got to be a guy that fucking takes it down the stairs.
Especially in New York, that would be a union gig for sure.
I did like this because like I wasn't expecting it, and then boom, crash to them watching it in the drive-in.
The thing about this movie right here is that this main girl that we get in the second opening is I just wanted the whole movie with her because Vision. She would have been like my biggest crush in school ever.
I was a big Charles and Charles fan. I love Nicole Eggert. I grew up, she was like one of my favorite celebrity crushes. And when I saw this movie for the first time, I was like, holy shit. Like, I thought it was her. And then I was trying to like line up the timeline, and I was like, this
is not her. Yeah.
Mathematically, this is not working. And then I Googled it, and I usually try to figure shit out on my own before I Google it because I want to kind of use my stupid nerd movie brain. And I'm like, no, I'll see. And then like fucking, once I found out she wasn't the character, I was like, well, now I'm going to look it up. And then when I looked it up, obviously it wasn't her. But I was kind of right away like sucked into that second scene. And that scene was it for me. Like, if that movie would have ended right there, I would have still watched it with you guys and been like, I think
right when she's walking into the little house or whatever it is at the drive-in, because personally, I've never been to a drive-in. Never had the opportunity.
So full disclosure,
West Coast
right.
guy,
it is awesome, and that is exactly what it's like. There's a destination somewhere on the property where
Right.
they have a snack stand, and you fucking walk in there. And all I was thinking the whole time, I was like, man, I would have tore that shit up. I would have been in that popcorn full for fucking face, you know.
But
and like she's like, hey, last chance, you know, like she's like trying to give him chances to come out.
She's a good kid, man. But like my son had come out and I didn't know what was going to happen. So he comes out. So I paused the movie, right? And I'm like, I don't know where we're going. And it was just the scene of her standing there. Like her whole outfit was on display. The whole background, the yellow linoleum, the freaking red Coke signs, the wood grain everywhere. And I was just like, God,
bro,
damn.
it is
like,
it is picturesque. If you watch stills of that, like if you go on the internet, you search Killer Party and you look up movie theater scene, you know, drive-in scene, they fucking they broke that into stills, and like I could fucking look at that shit all day. Like I want to live in that scene. Like that's literally like heaven on earth for me.
Yeah, you talk about 80s horror. I mean, just the look and feel. And, you know, maybe a little this movie did have a lot of Oscar kills and stuff that we don't like in our horror movies.
Yes.
But at the same time, this movie had a feel that I don't get with a lot of movies. And even with horror movies that I love now, I don't get that same feel. This is like a vibe movie. It's like if you want to have that 80s, true 80s feel, the vibe, this is a perfect movie to put on.
Yeah, I have a theory on that. I think you said before 80s is fuck, right? And I think that's because this is later. It's 86, 87,
well,
you know?
It was actually filmed in 84.
Yeah, but that's still mad late for the slasher genre. You know what I mean? Like if you think about
Nightmare came out in 84.
Yeah, but Nightmare was good. Nightmare was a reinvention of the slasher genre, right?
I got.
But like, I think like all the really classic slashers are like mid 70s, you know, 70. Like Texas Chainsaw is 74.
Yeah,
that's kind of kicking it off, and then to like 81, 82 is like golden age, and then like after that it's sequel central, right? And then you know back then sequel didn't mean better. Sequel meant watered down, right? So when we hear sequel, you know, nowadays we think tentpole franchise, bigger, better, more stars, more money, bigger budget. You know, that was not the case when it came to slasher movies, especially. So from Friday 2 to, you know, Halloween 2, whatever it is. And I like some of them, but none of them are even close to the original movie. And then you get into the second wave, which is like The Prowler, which is like one of my favorites, which we did. You know, The Burning, movies
Hellraiser,
that are you start getting into like all these different, and then it kind of like takes the slasher
more of the Cronenberg body horror type things, you know, because even
it takes the slasher to different places, you know, and I think at that point you're looking for new ideas, right? This is late to the party, so they get the benefit of seeing all the stuff that everybody did, and they're like, we're gonna fucking do better, you know, like we're gonna make this shot better, we're gonna do this better, whatever it is. But then they fucked up because they don't have the money, clearly, to execute the plan. They got the plan, they don't have the money to execute the plan, and MGM is like, nah. So legacy wise, this is the last movie to be released by MGM Studios before they sold to Ted Turner. So MGM Studios was from 1924 till this movie came out, 86 or 87, right? 86. 1924 to 1986, they were one studio owned by one ownership group the whole way. And so this was the last movie before the merger and, you know, the sale of the studio, which then kind of got butchered and turned into a million different things. So this was probably like, okay, you can make your fucking movie because we gave you a green light already, but you ain't getting any more money because we're in the middle of a sale, a major sale back in the 80s, you know, where this was like a multi-million-dollar conglomerate sale, and they were probably like, you got what you got. You're not getting a single fucking dollar more. And that's the result that you get. I think the off-screen kills are that. I really do.
If they would have gotten rid of all of the telekinesis demon shit at the end, which was just terrible. If they would have gotten rid of all that, how much money did they spend on tearing the stairs down? Because A, it didn't injure anybody, and B, it really wasn't all that impressive. Because then she just got beat up with a stick. But like all the budget on that, and just take it and flip it to where like maybe there is like a small kind of possession thing, but like that's also an April Fool's joke. You know, the whole thing needs to end with it. Maybe somebody does get killed, but they weren't supposed to. You know, it was like
that is April Fool's Day. I mean, that's
yeah.
You know.
But I would have liked that a lot more. You know, or maybe there was a killer, but it could have been just a person, you know, just one of the people. Because I was trying to figure out who done it.
Yeah, don't have it be supernatural. I think that's the thing. Like I didn't want it to be supernatural until it became over the top, campy supernatural, and they were trying to like literally like rip off of Evil Dead.
Especially when you introduce these characters, and the girl with the glasses is like the spitting image of one of the girls from Yellow Jackets, actually. With the blonde curly hair and the glasses, and she's like a super nerd, and she is like Stan Winston Studios freaking protege here, like has doing the Lord's work as far as prosthetics goes. I mean, she just made her own dummy head that looked super convincing.
So here's the other thing with this movie. Like, sorry, Steve, to cut you off, but so Mike, you were bringing about the cuts. It looks like the MPA was cutting the hell out of the movie. They were forcing a lot of this thing to make it little to no gore, and because of all the cuts, it rushed the timeline of the movie, because the movie was supposed to actually happen throughout the entire school year. Because when it opened up, it was the beginning of the semester, and all of a sudden, this party was an April Fool's party.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot in movies back in the day, and I don't think we hear about it very much. And I think with the invention of DVD and the deleted scene, we learned about a lot of stuff that we never fucking knew before.
Yeah.
You know, like, because I remember being, I had literally over 1,000 DVDs at one point, and I would buy DVDs for the deleted scenes. As a movie nerd, I wanted to see that, like, you know, missing connective tissue. And sometimes I would be like, damn, that would have been a way better movie. And most times I was like, damn, they're pretty smart that they cut that out. This seems like one of those movies where they fucking definitely chopped it up. You know, and yeah, because they were catching up to the idea of what a slasher movie was. So the MPAA, a lot of those ratings that went out early on, because they didn't know what the fuck to make of these movies, you know? I mean, the British just fucking banned everything. Like the video nasties, the idea, if you ever do any research of the video nasties, it's amazing, because there's some movies on that list that you're like, that movie's on the list? They were like, we're not even watching it because it sounds fucked up. So it's going on the list. You know what I mean? Like,
Chainsaw was one of those movies that they refused to even watch.
But like Texas Chainsaw, I get, because there's a lot of fucked up shit in Texas Chainsaw.
There's not a lot of gore.
A lot of gore and not a lot of on screen because they didn't have any money. But you know, the fucking thing opens up with a real dead animal, and you know, like there's some shit in there. But there's movies on the original nasties list, video nasties list. If you look up the original list, there's some shit on there that is pedestrian, like real. And I'm like, these motherfuckers just didn't want to even watch anything. Like, they didn't even care. And they had the power to do it, so they did it. Couldn't do that here in America. So instead, they just caught up eventually, right? Over time, they would be like, all right, we're going to tighten it a little bit, tighten a little bit. Then they get to a point, and then they would go in a whole different direction, you know? So basically, they kind of killed the slasher genre by restricting it so much. But by the time they restricted it, they already got 100 movies, you know, through, you know, so those are the ones that we know, and the ones that we love, and the ones that have a better reputation for like on-screen brutality. But unfortunately, you know, then there's the second generation, like, you know, the next wave, and they don't get the benefit of the doubt. And I think this is one of those. And
then now they're like, yeah, whatever, whatever you want to do. Throw it in.
I mean, you watch a movie now. I mean, we were talking before off air about Haunted Mansion. Like, that fucking movie was scary, bro. Like, I watched the new Disney one, and I was like, bro, that was a pretty, like, my 7-year-old was like, can we stop this for a little while? And I'm like, come on, bro, like stop being a pussy. But you know, it's like ultimately at the end of the day, it was pretty scary. Like they did a good job of making it at least somewhat scary. That's a fucking PG movie.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and I'm like, I kind of think back to what we thought of as PG movies, which were terrible. You know, like there was so much bad shit in PG movies, curses and fucking tits and like all kinds of shit in PG movies in the 80s. And you know, it's like it's all cyclical, right? So I think
What was
this one
Beastmaster? Was Beastmaster PG?
probably,
That movie is rough.
yeah, bro.
That
There's
movie.
there's a lot of them because it was like they didn't have PG-13 yet.
Remember
So they
when
had
Rip Torn
PG
threw
and
that child into the fire?
they had PG and they had R, right? So if something wasn't R, it was PG.
PG.
Yeah.
And that's
Poltergeist was PG.
That's not true. Yeah, exactly. Jaws is PG. Get the fuck out. People don't go into water to this day because of Jaws. That movie was fucking PG, like legit, you know? So it's like, come on, you know, I think this is definitely a product of its time. And because I discovered it much later, I usually don't like shit like that. When I discover stuff too late, I'm usually like, damn, like I'm fucking late to the party on this one. I wish I could have really loved this for what it was at the time, like as 12-year-old Mike, you know, like going through all these slasher movies.
Yeah,
Well, I
you know
guess-
what? You're right. If I watched this back when I was watching all of these, probably would have been a very different experience, and probably
because
one that I would have fallen in love with.
Well, I only watched it last night, right? And I've already forgotten most of the interstitial parts of the movie, right? I'm remembering scenes, flashes, these little bits that I like, but there's a whole bunch of shit in the middle with the sorority house, and they were fucking riding around on bikes for a little while. I don't know what they were doing. I don't remember. They're driving around with this Martin guy for some fucking reason, not Christian Bale. Like, I don't even remember why he was part of the crew. Then we just have a lot of like this house party where people are just kind of walking around. We got like the two nerds, not John Candy and Rick Moranis, like looking at ass, you know, like there's just a lot of nothing happening.
Or the prank at the when the
Hot tub?
No, not the hot. Well, the hot tub prank being shown on the 8mm
Yeah.
roll to the.
I like that old lady
or
that was in there
whatever.
like laughing. The old lady.
Well, because she was the one who was head of the sororities, and now this guy was taking over, which makes no sense. Like, right? Like, who's this guy? Like,
When
he's nobody, he gets murdered immediately.
well,
when they did the bees thing, all I thought about was like Nick Cage and the Wicker Man fucking
Yeah.
remake, you know, and I was like, the bees.
Well, I'm just like, I hope nobody's fucking allergic to bees. It's not like bee allergies just started in the 90s.
Yeah, but and they got
did
that
with my girl. After my girl, that was.
Oh no, everybody had bees.
They got that.
Both
They got
kids.
that Intex pool out there, and they fucking dragged the lady inside of it. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, that's like a modern invention flashback to the '80s because they had a real janky ass hot tub out there that looked like they built it with some PVC pipes. And they pulled her in, and she's all fucking waterlogged. And I was like, "What a classic '80s move, right?"
Yeah,
like said,
it's all
Porky's
slapstick.
or Naked Gun type shit.
They're all
you know?
holding their cameras over like the bushes, like trying to get pictures. And like that one girl's like, "We're gonna call the police." It's so overacting. That one girl comes out of nowhere for no reason, is like, "I'm gonna get you," and drops her towels. Like,
Well,
oh, perfect.
when
That's what it was for.
when they're running away, it's funny because like they're running away from them and they got to get to the front of the house obviously, and then every girl runs over the two of them. Like they don't go around them or like, you know, once the first one knocks the guy over, they all step on the guy like on the way through, like right away. And like all I thought about was the Naked Gun, you know, like with the band, and then like the bulldozer comes in, and then like the truck comes in.
But
and I was like,
this follows the April Fool's Day song music video and ridiculous Tales from the Crypt opening. So already I'm not taking anything super seriously going on. Like this is not like a slice of life.
The double fake out start definitely is a good way to make you not pay attention to anything. Like you're like, none of this could mean anything because eventually there's got to be a story, but hopefully it'll be over by the time I
mean, the story is what they're just trying to get into this sorority, I guess.
That's it. Yeah, they're goats.
They do the one prank with the guillotine, which I thought was good. You know, I don't know how she had that dummy head talk before it got cut off. I don't know.
They put sensors in it. That was her excuse for everything. What did you do? I had sensors from this class, and I was like,
it's like lasers, like
Perfect.
saying you just said the word laser.
I could explain it to you, but it would take forever, and you wouldn't understand anyways. I just did it. It's like, okay.
I mean, when I did watch this, my first thought was just from the movie theater scene alone, this is what I want to do with you guys, because I knew you. I had a feeling that if I had never seen this, I don't think any of you guys had seen it, and I just for the sheer reaction to that music video in the beginning, I said this, and I remember I texted you guys back in like fucking April, and I was like, hey guys, just secured our first pick. I was very confident as soon as I watched it, and the movie wasn't even over yet. I had just finished that scene, and I was like, yep, this is what we will be talking about this Halloween. So, I mean, right away, I've been like kind of.
I found that song. You could listen to it.
Oh,
it's out there.
Rocks, bro.
And not only that, but like the 80s synth, there's a lot of good music in here. The when the killing stuff is happening, you have some of those classic, killing, killer sounds, the strings and all that. But then like there's plenty of synthesizer, all that. I love all that crap, man. That's like, it makes me feel like I'm watching a horror movie.
I definitely feel like whatever fucking union represented the musician guys in the 80s, those guys were like the fucking Teamsters of the background unions that worked on movies, because they fucking got theirs, bro. Like the music never got like slighted in anything. Like if you watch any 80s
like full
movie,
productions, like
yeah, bro, like they went for it, like
when they have comedic scenes. You have like a full orchestra being like bum 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 bum.
Exactly. Like, what the fuck? There was no like just
75 people got paid to make that.
I really feel like that was probably where a lot
all
of
that money went.
Yeah, to like a lot of 80s movies, not just that, but like I feel like that was a big part of like the movie industry, right? Like there was like a whole behind the scenes conglomerate of people that made a movie work.
That's
and
like, that was like, and the electric music, the bringing in of the Casios. That was like how artists are feeling about AI now. Like, look, yeah, but do it so much faster and better and easier.
You give a dude a fucking iPhone now, and they can make it pop. You know what I mean? Like Steven Soderbergh's made like 6 movies on his iPhone, and I'm like, God damn! Like Steven Soderbergh's a great director with a camera, but if that guy can make a fucking movie with a phone, then I think it's time to reevaluate things. You know what I mean? Like maybe we don't need to shoot on 40 millimeter, 35 millimeter, fucking 70 millimeter, like fucking Quentin Tarantino's fucking shooting.
Or like
what
was it Oppenheimer on like a 4-mile long reel of film? Like
yeah.
Because,
I mean, like, and that's where your $100 million budget goes, right? Where I can get this $1,500 iPhone 15 Pro and be like, there you go.
Meanwhile, I feel like I want to see that. I want to see that happen.
15.
Yeah, I want to see that happen because I like that they do that once a year. I don't like it that the whole industry was that in the 80s. Like you hear these guys talk about like Sean Cunningham or Wes Craven or John Carpenter, and they talk about they made these fucking masterpieces, and they had to like literally sell bodily organs to afford the film. Like the actual film was so expensive that like they had to like mortgage houses and like sell future rights to children and all kinds of stuff to fucking make movies that became classics, right? And nowadays,
that's why they didn't own those movies. Sam Raimi didn't own the first Evil Dead. That's why Evil Dead 2, the first 30 minutes of it is a remake of Evil Dead. Like it's
the best.
It's ridiculous.
But it's like there's a whole generation of people, maverick filmmakers, so to speak, right? Like the Hollywood Mavericks, and this in the 70s and the 80s. God forbid they had the fucking technology, And if you would have gave that group, Pete Bogdanovich, Martin Scorsese, if you would have gave them digital cameras, those motherfuckers would have made 6,000 movies. Like they would have been on fire. And
so what's this? Save it to what? The cloud? The what?
Yeah,
now?
yeah. Who got my password? Which one of you assistants have my password? Log me in.
Maybe wild. So the party, like what? There's nothing between that first prank with the
there's a
guillotine and the
kill.
party.
There's a kill where they kill the house lady.
Yep.
Out of nowhere, she's beaten to death by
Cracked over the head
by a stick.
Yeah.
Because she was there, like talking to the gravestone, and then went
like, why are
inside
you
to
going
fix
in
the
there?
Stairs.
Not great.
You're in there with your high heels and your fucking your panty. You get like what are you actually doing with a hammer in there? Like you see the whole house. Like you have footprints in 2 inches of dust, and your first thing is like, I gotta fix the stair banister.
Well, she didn't want anybody to fall. It's a fall hazard. You know, if somebody goes up those stairs, they're gonna fall.
You're fall hazard.
They're gonna fucking slip.
They wrote that right into the script.
The slick ass, dusty.
Gotta get this fall hazard taken care of.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, so but then she gets exactly that's the thing. There was somebody literally there with men's shoes on.
But now that I think about it, right after that scene, all 3 of those girls are walking to the thing, and they all have those paddles in their bags hanging out of the back. I was like,
yes. Well,
one
that's
of them.
the thing. So
they give you a little bit. You know.
But
and they show the killer house.
But all 3 girls were together, so it's not gonna be one of them because it was a solo person, right? This is where this is why I'm saying like this was the confusing part, and this is where I was like kind of rolling my eyes at the end. Like if the movie was gonna tell me it's a demonic possession movie where she's going crazy and murdering people,
do you know who the ghost was?
It was the kid he killed himself, or he had an accident in that sorority. That's why the house was condemned.
It was just like really shaky,
very brushed over. Yes, it was very.
I was like,
not really important.
And why do they have a grave in the back of the house?
The entire 4th act of this movie, because it's not a standard 3-act movie. The entire
fifth act
of this movie hinges on a very pivotal part.
There's three first acts, so that's why that can be confusing to the average viewer. There's 3 first acts of the movie, so that's why there's a 5-act movie. I know that's rare unless it's a sequel, but you know, for a 1-part movie to have 5 acts, pretty interesting. It makes it unique, you know.
It is, and then we get the other scene too of the guy who was taking over the sorority house as he was in the house being electrocuted, like. Just this cool cable coming out with clearly a man's hand holding it. You know, same thing like they did with Friday the 13th, the original. Like it was a man doing the thing. It was Savini and his guy. I can't remember his buddy's name, doing all the killings. And then all of a sudden it's Betsy Palmer, right? Like this is the same thing that they were doing.
This house that's been shut down, right? So this was a frat house that was shut down because somebody died there, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it would have been cool if it was like like how the sorority house had that house lady. Like, what if there was like a dude that stayed at that house, and like when the frat house got shut down, he had nowhere to go, and he just kind of hunkered down and kind of went nuts.
And if they would have kind of like played the whole idea up of like, we can't do the party at our house, we gotta, let's do it somewhere else, and like that could have been a good angle as well.
Right, and he is mentally unstable because he was part of that reason that they killed. And he talks to him, right? He talks to the dead kid, like it's like that kind of thing. He's mental. He's got a mental break, and he's talking to nobody, but it's the dead kid.
We got to take notes here. We can make.
Well, and
I got an iPhone.
He was right now. And he was he's the number 1 suspect in the kid's death, so he's been in hiding. You know what I mean? Like the police,
obviously in the house where he murdered him.
Right? But
well,
you can hide the walls. Hey, people under the stairs, bro. Come on,
that's what I was thinking.
Walls. You know what I'm
Fool, bro. That's
what I was thinking. You see how big that basement was? That basement was huge.
Oh, it's a pretty big basement. That is what we.
It's a sorority. It's a frat house. It's got like 50 rooms. Like all the places in the world to hide.
Yeah, that is a New England basement. That's a Cape Cod basement for sure. Like that's a huge basement. Nobody has basements like that.
The bones are there for it to be a really cool story, and for it to have all these characters think that it's prank after prank after prank, but then shit starts getting real.
So now this is where I have to say it. You just killed it right there. You nailed it. You said the bones are there, but right? This is the fucking movie that should be remade. These are the movies that should be remade. The movies that have a good premise but fucked it up, right? Like they dropped the ball. They didn't execute as good as they could have executed XYZ, right? Don't fucking remake Halloween again. Don't remake Friday the 13th again. Don't fucking do it, right? Instead.
But you know why? Because nobody remembers Killer Party.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is
Halloween has a base that is going to make $100 million without them even.
Yeah, but this movie done right would become a brand new thing. It would hit. It would hit.
Yeah, I agree.
Happy Death Day. All those movies are fucking hits.
I don't know if you guys saw.
And they make a ton of money.
The most recent one is similar. It's called Totally Killer.
Oh, no, Amazon. We're reviewing it this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend.
Absolutely nailed it. Loved. And the girl, I love her and everything. She's from Mad Men, and Sabrina. She's fucking awesome. But all I'm gonna say is that was an 80s movie redo. Like somebody had an idea from an 80s movie and they kind of just shined it up a little bit. And that's what I'd like to see more remakes of from 80s movies. Right. If you're gonna do it, and they tried in the early 2000s. They did. They remade Black Christmas, which I love the 2000 remake of Black Christmas. It's actually
we watched it.
Yeah, I'm saying it's not anything compared to the original. But what I'm trying to say is,
the original wasn't that good either.
I severely disliked the remake.
The original Black Christmas.
It was okay. I said the original was okay.
I don't have to go because I have to get on a plane to go to Orlando to fuck a little up right now because I'm going to fight him. Come on.
I grew up watching Black Christmas. It was okay.
The same guy who directed Black Christmas directed Christmas Story.
I know.
That's amazing. Like alone right there. That is
just because he could direct two different genres of movies.
I hate you so much. But truthfully, I think they tried. They did try in that era. There's a few swings. I just watched a movie called Satan's School for Girls, right? From the 70s. I'm doing a Halloween challenge and I'm trying to watch movies I've never seen before. So I watched this movie. It had two of Charlie's Angels in it, Cheryl Ladd and Kate Jackson, right? Oh. And I was like, damn, I'm going to watch it. Turns out it was a TV movie, so no tits. Very disappointed. But there was also a 2000 remake with Shannon Doherty in it. And I was like, I didn't know that. So they did take some swings in that era. I would like to see that more in 2020 plus, with Shudder and Screenbox and all these people throwing money around saying, give us an original movie. I would like someone to take $500,000 and an iPhone 15 that Alil has. He could lend it out and shoot this fucking thing. Like, give me something, give me a remake of Killer Party or something like Killer.
But if they put me in the B costume as the fat guy, I'll do it. And give him my iPhone 15.
It'll be you two with the fucking cameers over the.
I did think of that. I was no joke. I was like, hey, that could be me and Steve in this fucking movie.
We're so old.
Yeah. It don't matter. It's a Killer Party reunion.
That would be kind of the joke,
it's
right?
Killer Party reunion. We're having a 25th anniversary high school reunion, Killer Party style.
It would be kind of the joke, though. They'd be like, "Look at these fucking two idiots."
I'm in school right now, so it don't matter. There you go.
Hey, see, that's how it works, man.
That means I can go to college parties.
Awesome. Did you notice at the end when what's her name Jenny reveals herself to be this demon that's possessed and like there's that one scene where she's crawling down the hallway and like she's got that fake tongue sticking out of her mouth. It's like it was just a lot of like growling and contact lenses, and then at one point she starts like using X-Men powers and like pulling the stairwell apart. And I don't know if you noticed, but like the girl with the glasses is sitting up there. What was her, Vivia or something like that?
Vivia, yeah.
She's sitting up there like trying to avoid shit, and then at one point like this header beam just falls down and crushes her right on her neck, just like bam. But like it bounces off of her because it's made of like rubber or styrofoam or whatever. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's like this is the scene where like she's knocked out or something like that. No, the very next scene like she was just like sitting there like, oh my god. Like, bro, sprinting. That was a load-bearing beam.
Yeah.
It would have destroyed you.
The house is coming down, not just your neck. Like the whole house is coming down.
and then she gets thrown from the top of that, and all she does is like hurt her ankle.
Eats it. She eats it.
I was like, come on now. Like, you're probably how you fell.
And then
You're
and
probably unconscious.
I
at minimum.
now if I know if any if there's ever a female that gets possessed by a demon, that the best way to dispatch her is to stab her in the boob with a stick.
It's the stake of the heart, man. Stake in the heart.
I mean,
That was low, bro. That was like top of the ribs. It was like pure.
Yeah.
Well,
bullshit.
it's because it was glued there. It was like dangling.
it's like very, very Pee Wee Herman and,
Yes,
and
then
I thought it was funny because she was like, just end it, and she's like, and like it goes in like this far, and and Jenny's like, ow, and then dies after saying ow.
it's like
I was like,
prom
"Aw,
night all over again.
That's sad. That's so sad that she's like, ow.
Ow.
and then Phoebe gets possessed after stabbing her. I mean, I did like the scene that they put them both in the ambulance together. I was like, that's cool. That's like a cool end to that. But like, yeah, this last 15 minutes, not so great.
But and also that's a clear studio bailout to maybe have a sequel, right? Like, so if this movie would have been released and people would have been like, "This fucking movie rocks," they would have been like, "See," and now they're in the fucking ambulance together. Part 2, here we go. You know, like they would have like went right from that.
And
moment.
then also like the scuba diving suit, the old school scuba diving suit, like the big metal one.
No way
like,
Jacques Cousteau's walking around that fast.
And he beats up not Rob Lowe, and then like
Rob Lowe.
You have this fucking guillotine set up from the beginning of the movie. We've already seen it in action, lob a head off, a fake prosthetic head. We can't just do that again. Like
for real this time,
instead, like you just like you see the guillotine blade go down, and then you hear like boom, 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 like rolling. I'm like,
I hate that.
Terrible,
so much.
Man.
There was a
and like what, he can't get up. Like he's just like, hey, let me up. Like
move
the fucking thing, get up.
There was a really bad, not bad. It's actually a really good movie, King Arthur movie that was made years ago. That had like Keira Knightley in
Clive
it.
Owen.
Clive Owen.
Antoine Fuqua. I love that movie.
But when you, I saw it in the theater, right? I saw that movie in the theater, and it was fucking cut to shit. No, there's no killing on the screen, and we're in the theater and we're like, what the fuck? Like we were watching a USA Tonight up all night edit of the movie, and we were like, damn. This seems like there was going to be a lot of murder in it, and there was not a lot of murder in it. And then we bought the DVD, and I was like, there's the murder. The heads were flying. People were fucking bathing in blood.
Lancelot at one point, he has 2 swords. That's his thing. He's like, wah, bah, bah, bah. He fucking X is a guy's head. He's like, yeah, pow, blood all over his whole
but
shit.
like,
When
I saw that shit in the theater, it was like cut to a sheep in a meadow, and I was like, what the fuck? Where'd that guy's head go? Come on, do better, be better. And that was when I learned about terrible editing, and that's when I was like, damn, they fucked that guy's movie up. Because that DVD, if you watch that fucking unedited version of that movie, it is bad ass. And then if you
Mike,
watch
how
the
about
fucking TV,
a young Mads Mikkelsen in there, huh?
yes, yeah. Oh man,
a young Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton's in there.
You love Joel.
I love
Ray
that
Winstone.
I love
being
that
a
movie.
badass. Oh.
I love that you love.
Ray
I love that you
Stevenson?
know it. I love that you know it. That's so great.
I haven't.
When I made that reference, I didn't know if you guys were gonna get it, but
I've seen it. Yeah,
I was in that fucking theater so mad. I was throwing popcorn. I was like, fuck this movie. What's going on? This guy just put 2 swords around a guy's neck and you cut to the left to see the sunset.
When I was in a metal band when I was in my 20s, we actually covered the theme for that with guitars and drums and all that. I fucking love that movie. It's so good. I had like a huge crush on Keira Knightley at the time. So
I think we're gonna have to do a special edition. We're gonna have to fit that one into the horror.
I will watch the fuck out of that.
I'm telling you, there's more murders in that than Killer Party.
How do you keep hitting? How do you keep hitting the middle of the board with your knife? Mads Mikkelsen's like, I aim for the middle.
Yes,
it's like fucking so good.
I'm watching that shit tomorrow. Fuck yes! Oh man, you guys are so great.
It's so good.
All right. I might have to rethink my rating now because this movie did suck. But that fucking first scene is great.
Well, you're
I
right.
like how you and Tommy,
like the opening.
You guys are the only ones that like Like they're like, fuck everybody else's review. It gets a superhero. All three of us gave it a hero. I'm just saying it.
No, but with that being said, now that I think about it, it's really not a great movie. But I really wanted to just talk about this with you guys, so I'm good with it. It could be a fucking total bullshit, nothing. But I'm happy we talked about it.
If we ended the movie on like the killer just got away from the house and there was no. And it was just like a what the fuck? Like, so it was just this random guy that just was like doing this crazy, and the movie just ended. I would probably like it more. I didn't like the supernatural aspect being thrown in at the 11th hour and kind of throwing a wrench in the whole thing, because then it becomes a movie that I don't understand. And I thought, which I don't understand it to begin with because of how it's gone, but at the same time, like I could have respected it more. So I think that ending really,
or if they would have, because like you see her become supernatural early when they were doing their
the seance
or the seance stuff, thing. So
in the initial eggs in their mouths, remember that?
In the initial, it looks like discussion here. What the studio chopped up was that timing element, right? So if you would have kept the timing element and peppered in kills with her throughout, I would have bought more of this possession movie.
Agreed.
But you set up a slasher / Porky's / other thing with the who is not main cast in Hollywood, but they're doppelgangers, and then throw in this 20-minute at the end. Like you give us an hour where nothing is really happening.
No.
And then in 20 minutes where you just run through everything and off-screen kills. And it just loses everything. Like you said, the bones are there. It's just that's why it's a sidekick for me. It's just not.
Also, for
Bones get the sidekick, but everything else does not.
For me personally, I was given 3 movies to watch from the East Coast this year, and this was the third and final movie out of those 3 I watched. So maybe I was just I was just like, well, this is awesome.
It was the best of the 3 in a sense of like an actual film.
Whoa.
I mean, Mikey, I'm sorry, buddy.
I'm looking at flights right now on JetBlue.
Street trash, and then
no, you gotta take Spirit. So when you get there, you're super pissed.
Oh, I'm already pissed. Spirit. I don't need any extra. You know, it's fuck.
Well, I actually
cohesive acting.
I actually liked Killer Party. The only thing is, everybody out there, if you want to give it a chance to watch it, if you don't have Screambox, good luck. I had to pay for a rental for this.
Well,
I rented it too.
Yeah, that's recent. Unfortunately, it did come off of Screambox when I recommended it
around there. Yeah,
when I recommended it to you guys, it was. I apologize for that.
No, it's. I mean, usually I can usually find it. But I couldn't find it.
I'm going to talk to you guys. I'll give you a little tip later where you can.
Every other Killer Party that came up, because there's at least 15 different movies called Killer Party,
and none of them are into the 1986 version.
Yeah. So all right. Well, thank you, Mike, for joining us tonight. We've talked Killer Party. Check it out if you can find it, or rent it on Amazon or Apple, because that's what we did. So that's it for tonight. This is Alil.
This is Steve.
And this is Mike D.
And until tomorrow night, everybody, keep it creepy.